to go into turn number 1. And you can see this car right there down on the bottom of the racetrack, and indeed it does get into the back end of Kenny Wallace.
Ned, what happened there is he went in on the flat part of the racetrack and slid up. He didn't mean to do it. You can see the car lose grip right there, go up and make contact right there on the left rear corner of Kenny Wallace.
Well, it's very difficult on the first lap of these races when cars are building momentum. I'm sure Wally Dallenbach of that number 25 Chevrolet had a good run and was going into that corner faster than Wallace.
Well, there's Dale Jarrett right there as they head off in the corner. He goes down on the flat part of the racetrack.
He might have had a little bit of a bump from the 28 car, his teammate, as they went in there.
At 190 miles an hour, it's almost impossible for the brakes to slow the car to miss the incident. You steer for the hole and hope it's still there when you get there.
Boy, that track closed up in a hurry. When one car spun, as close as they were running together, they had to get a lot of other cars involved.
Add Ricky Rudd. Right there at the start of that replay, was there contact between Jarrett and the 28?
Yeah, it looked like there was just light contact, just enough to turn him down on flat and shoot him right back up in front of oncoming traffic.
Another angle. The cars you're watching, oh, Jarrett's already gone at that point.
And just shoots back up across the racetrack right into Terry Labonte. And then other cars, there's Mark Martin in 6th car. There comes Ward Burton in number 22.
Jeffrey Bodine, he was the next to him there.
Robert Presley.
Someone's upside down there.
That was Bodine, I believe, that went on his route. Hamilton, as he spins down the backstretch, eyes wide shut.
Still was hard to tell, buddy. It looked like, basically what you said, he ran way down to the inside and all of a sudden just cut back across the racetrack.
That's what it looks like from Robert Presley's car. No contact.
No, and Kyle Petty almost got there.
Let's see what happened here.
All by himself. You see it turn around there, head up towards the outside wall. He'll just barely get into it with the left side there.
As Musgrave hitting the inside wall.
For bad luck for Ernie Irvan, but I will tell you that Rusty Wallace, for him, that was a tremendous break because he was almost a lap down.
From the hood of his car. Let's see what happened here to Jerry Nadeau.
Right by himself, you see the back started around. Now he locks the wheels up. Watch when he hits the grass here. Up, the roof flaps fly up and down through there he goes. He was lucky he slid exactly straight, never over towards the wall.
Wallace, Jeffrey Bodine. Now there is Ernie Irvan, that yellow car.
He's already in trouble there. Whether there's any contact or not, we can't say. So that's not.
During the break, someone mentioned the crunchy M&Ms on the back of the car. Crunchy, all right. 3 cars made pit stops.
A long time. Let's take a look at it. Here is Benson coming out of the 4th corner, and boom.
He just loses control, and when he comes off the corner, there's Tony Stewart with no place to go. Chad Little just barely gets by. Look at all these cars get by now. Luckily, Benson goes to the grass, Stewart goes to the outside, and leaves the middle open for all these cars.
Miraculous, though, that these cars, as close as they were, did not become involved. Here's another look at it.
You see Benson gets the car loose. When he corrects it, he goes up, smacks the wall, and watch. Tony Stewart, heavy contact right in the right front wheel.
And boy, Chad Little was very, very lucky that he was not collected in that incident. It occurred coming off corner number 2, headed down the backstretch.
And Michael Walter, the 7 car, just loses control. He spins back across the racetrack, and look as he stands on the gas, and Steve Grissom comes along and pows in the side of him, lift the whole car off the ground. Meanwhile, Elliott Sadler spins down by himself, and I don't know if Elliott hit anything or not. He was heading for the inside wall when we last saw him, but and some pretty good damage to Steve Grissom's car.
A lot of front end damage to the 91. Here's another angle. You can see Michael was running a little high, maybe got up in the loose stuff.
This looks almost exactly like his spin in Daytona in the 300-mile race, the Busch Series race, when Kenny Wallace drives up on the outside of the 28 car. Now the 28 car needs to go up the racetrack, but they make contact right there as he tries to come up the racetrack. And look at all these cars with no place to go. John Andretti, was he involved, or was he able to get through? With the smoke and the dust, it's so hard to tell.
Well, it looked like he got through, but I don't know whether there was any damage on the car. Dale Jarrett did. There's the contact that sent Kenny Wallace to the outside wall, and Irwin spinning to the inside.
And then we see Elliott coming along with no place to go. There's Derek Cope, Joe Nemechek, all these cars going down to the inside. And this grass just does not slow the cars down. And we see Irwin nose into the inside wall.
From Wally Dallenbach's perspective. Boy, that smoke comes up. You have no idea what's going to be on the other side of it. He got hit 2 or 3 times in the melee. And let's see if we can find out what happened to Dale Earnhardt.
Going down in turn 3. Earnhardt he starts on the outside of that car, and his second groove just isn't there right yet. He tries to go on the outside of that car and could not quite make it. And bam, in that outside retaining wall.
John Kernan has more.
I just talked to the crew, and they said Earnhardt told them on.
We'll see what happened to Derek. Derek Cope is snake or Jeffrey Bodine into the fence.
And we see the car with just tremendous speed to the right side of the car.
That was in turn number 2, and then the car came across the racetrack, narrowly missing some others who were passing by on the low side, and the car sliding across the 24 degrees of banking here.
And all of a sudden the car will turn left. And there's 2 reasons for running the inside wall. Number 1, he has no brakes. And number 2, very, very slow at the start-finish line, trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack. Sterling Marlin, and we see the smoke out of the back of the car. I don't know what the problem is, but there, Schrader, all of a sudden, it gets too high going in the first corner. Man, he slams the wall, comes across the racetrack with Earnhardt and Nadeau. And it doesn't look like that Earnhardt had a lot of damage to his car.
I think that perhaps Schrader might have gotten some contact from Steve Park, Ned.
I believe he did too, Bob. It looked like because the car just shot all of a sudden up, going around and into the wall.
And from another angle, there's Schrader sideways and up into the outside wall. Then he comes down across the track and there collects Earnhardt and Nadeau.
But Steve Park was way behind Kenny Schrader when he first spun.
He was, yeah.
Rain continues. Here's the replay.
That's Jeff Burton, and the wreck has started. The wreck has started. There we see Burton gets in the back of Jerry Nadeau. He goes up and smacks the wall. And I guess that's where he did the damage to the right front.
Yep, I would say so. He didn't hit anything after that, so I'm sure when his right front wheel hit that wall, here we'll see it again.
This is from our Pennzoil copter cam. There is a wreck that's going to happen right in front of these guys. And there, yes, Burton hits that wall hard.
There's Irvin up against the outside wall. Kenny Irwin down toward the inside, and Craven, and Jeff Gordon hits Nadeau.
Jerry Nadeau slides down and just barely.
From turn 4.
Okay, he'll be coming into the picture here very shortly. There he is by himself. And all at once the car just slides up into the wall.
Ned, that looked like a tire was cut down. He never turned the wheel. When he started off the corner, it went directly up. The right front corner would not work. Watch this. You hear him out?
He does hit that wall hard. Oh, what a tough break for the 3-time champion.
Pit stops under this caution flag, and Kenny Irwin is first out of the pits, the pole sitter. Let's have another look here.
This is at regular speed. Here he comes, and look at it. Just shoot right straight up into the wall. Well, not straight up into the wall, but it was a glancing lick. But he went.
That car going in the corner, and it shot straight into the wall. Look, you could see the sparks where the wheel was dragging way before he got to the wall.
And I said it wasn't the first time he got in the wall here at Texas. A year ago, he hit hard into the wall as well and broke some ribs and injured his body and was out of competition for a little while.
Compare the impact on this car to Gordon's. Now, Gordon's car hit the wall coming off the corner, accelerating. Skinner was all the way down at the bottom of the racetrack when that let go and had a long way to travel at speed.
Exactly, and 200 miles an hour, almost 200 miles an hour as you start into that corner. Kevin LePage right there. You see him lose it on the outside. The cars behind him got tangled up there, but Kevin started this, and now they start piling up down the straightaway. As everybody gets on the brakes, they run into each other.
Because there was still a lot of cars that were running side by side back there. That was just the second lap after they'd taken the green flag. And we'll watch it again here. There's LePage spinning around on the outside.
Rick Mast and Jeffrey Bodine get together there. You see Schrader coming in there. John Andretti runs in the back of him.
Jimmy Spencer,
wow,
23.
Look at him go through there. Couldn't believe that he found a hole.
I thought Spencer was too wide to thread that needle.
He did a great job. There you see the top part of your screen. 16 cars spinning around, and then everybody else is a chain reaction type of a deal.
Rick Mast sliding right at you in the 98 there. You can see why everybody slows down in a wreck like that. Look at the debris on the racetrack. Look at the metal flying around.
Now look at Spencer coming right through there. The hole just opened up for him, and he just drove right through there.
And Brett Bodine in that white car also right through the middle of that wreck.
Kenny Schrader, that green 30.
Looping it down out of turn number 4, and it's now parked right down here below us. Joe Nemechek, number 42. We get ready to resume here and get us to the halfway distance, which will come at lap 167. Riding with Robert.
Here's a look at Mark.
Right straight up. You can see the right front's down up into the wall. As he turned in, it looked just like Mike Skinner's car when it went down the corner. Right front was down.
There you see it again. Just veers right up into the wall. It didn't hit as hard as Mike Skinner, or maybe not as hard as Jeff Gordon.
From Dale Jarrett's car.
Ow. Now you can see him coming down the racetrack. Everybody going to the flat there to get by him.
It's a long way to go to that wall when that happens going into the corner.
Yeah, but you can see everybody. Watch Bobby Labonte right here in the green car. Broken shoulder and all. He gets on the flat to get by.
Those racers got together.
Well, of course, they were already together, and the accident was happening. And Spencer, really a lot of damage to his number 23 Ford.
Jimmy was on the outside, and Robert was on the inside. Ride with Robert Presley. That's Jimmy Spencer to his right.
Rick Mast on the inside. They make contact right there. You can see the two cars come together. Presley into the outside. He's able to go down into the corner, and then he goes up and hits the wall just a second later here.
And actually, Buddy, the wall straightened him out. Now that's smoke from the tires that have been cut down, and there he's in the wall in turn 1.
You can see him.
Backed off and somebody hit him. He's already into the spin here when we pick it up. Front end hits, then it goes around and hit it again. Let's go to the pits and John Kernan.
What happened?
There you see Ricky Rudd, the tied car. And Trickle's on the outside. Rudd does not know Trickle's there. Decides to go by Bodine on the outside. They make contact.
And Rudd hitting the wall just about the same place that Dale Earnhardt did yesterday during happy hour. Now from the Jimmy Dean onboard camera with Trickle.
He starts up on the outside, and Rudd does too. Turns him the wrong way into the wall.
Down to past the halfway mark.
And Ted Button, I mean, the 77 car, Robert Presley loses it coming off turn 2, and Bobby Labonte, no place to go, runs right in the left side of his car. And we talked about Kyle Petty barely getting between Presley and the inside wall.
Yeah, he had to be looking at that wall coming up. We'll take a look at it from Bobby Labonte's car, and Presley gets loose, and there you see him. He clipped him as he went by, and then it looked like he got up into the wall then too.
There we see the leaders, Rusty Wallace and the 20 car, and Tony Stewart just has to go right to avoid running the back of Rusty Wallace. And
6.
This is onboard Dick Trickles, Jimmy Dean onboard camera. That's Buckshot on the inside, Johnny Benson on the outside. And it looked like Buckshot thought he had him cleared.
Looked that way because it looked like he went up just a little bit, and Johnny clipped him.
Corner. That's Jerry Nate who goes down the corner and just a little bit too close to Bobby Labonte, and he goes up, backs in the wall. And look at, there we see the 58 car. The 58 car of Ricky Craven spins into the 20 car of Tony Stewart. And Jeff Gordon, I guess, ran in the 77.
And look at Rusty Wallace, just missed the accident. It was very, very close for Rusty. There he comes through, but Stewart did not survive. Neither did Jeff Gordon, as he got bounced around by hitting Presley, and Darrell Waltrip also was involved. From Tony Stewart's onboard camera, we'll see how it looked from his vantage point in the Home Depot on board.
He was doing okay. He was going to miss that wreck, Ned.
Yes, he was. I guess he got tapped from behind.
Yes, he did. Here we see Steve Park, the one car, going down in the corner. And looks like he gets bapped. Yes, he does, by Kenny Schrader in the 33 car. Around goes Park, goes up, and really doesn't hit the wall. Not a lot of sheet metal damage.
That happened right in front of the leaders. You'll see Rusty Wallace. There he goes down on the inside. Dale Jarrett going by down on the inside. A lot of things have happened right in front of the leaders here today.
They both hit the apron of the racetrack and avoided the spin in number 1.
All right.
Got it here.
Watch for it up at the top of your screen. 3 or 4 cars involved. That's Kenny Wallace in the 55, Ted Musgrave in the 75.
And Ward Burton gets a run coming off the corner and just a little bit of a bump. That's a very critical point coming off the turn there. They was almost losing traction anyway.
And the Pennzoil copter cam. Right there is the contact. The nose of the car over the curb down in the grass, throwing up some dirt on the racetrack to pit road. Now here's the Ward Burton spin up in turn 4.
He goes around and Mike Skinner just barely gets by Jeffrey Bodine. There we see it. Now the leaders are going to come into this picture pretty soon as all these guys are trying to hustle back. And look at Ward just spins out right in front of the leader. And John Andretti down on the grass along with Steve Park.
Who, if anybody, had some contact with him?
Jeremy Mayfield's down on the inside, and there is a little contact. And around Mayfield goes.
Here's a replay.
We're in progress to see Rick Mast come in there and get into the 12 car, but there again, there was nowhere for him to go. Is that Ted Musgrave and the...
I think it's Johnny Benson in the Cheerios car. Might have made a little contact. You see Joe Nemechek at the very back of the screen. There we see once again. There we see the 26. He does make contact. And I guess that's Dick Trickle that runs in the back of Ward Burton.
And Nemechek slid down into the inside wall and flattened a couple of tires, but kept going. Here's the perspective of Kenny Irwin.
This is the Rebecca's onboard cameras. He comes off turn 2 and what's the bus slowing down? Oh, I see why it was slowing down.
Oh,
like a good job getting through there.
Yeah, he got by. Here's Derry Copes on board.
The seams parted and he was able to drive through.
Far left.
Never see the leader. And looks like Jeffrey and Ernie Irvin got together. And we see DJ go on the outside. Darrell Waltrip, the 28 car, goes in the outside. And they're trying their best to race Jeff Gordon back to the line. Another angle. Wow. Heads up, go on the outside. And I guess you got to give Jeff Gordon credit for squeezing by on the inside.
And Mark.
See Dale Jarrett, the 88 car, go in the corner behind Jimmy Spencer. Spencer's going to be the car that spins, and I guess there's the reason why. A little contact from DJ, and Spencer goes around. DJ is able to get by along with Chad Little, but we see Bill Elliott and Johnny Benson. Benson runs in the wall, a little contact with the wall, and Bill Elliott stops. Let's see if he makes very much contact with Johnny Benson. Mr. McDonald's onboard camera. Just ever so slightly.
Yep.
See the red car with no sponsor on the very bottom of the racetrack. He goes up, gets a little bump from Derek Cope in the Jimmy Dean sausage car, and around goes, oh, and a little contact between Rick Mast and Derek Cope as Cope drove by on the grass. And the entire field going by on the outside.
See if we can see what happened. He was right at the top of the screen on the outside of someone. And here we see the whole field go by.
Looks like it was Jeffrey Bodine he was running beside.
Yep, they make contact, and around Ward goes. Robert Presley does a good job of turning left and getting by.
I believe if Ward Burton had been there, Jeffrey Bodine. There, see Spencer goes up and tags the 28 car of Kenny Irwin. He gets tagged behind by Jeffrey Bodine, and Rich Bickle really had no place to go.
He might have got touched by Mike Skinner as he slowed down.
Now from the Haviland onboard camera with Kenny Irwin.
That'll be a while, right?
Boom, right there. And up on the wall.
Man, how did I get up here? Tony Stewart, the Home Depot onboard camera. That's the one car we didn't see spin just a moment ago as he follows John Andretti off the corner. Oh! Little contact with Andretti, and the nose is banged up on this.
From our speed shot located underneath the starter stand.
Let's check out Bobby Labonte's onboard camera. We see Chad Little, the John Deere car right beside Rick. Oh, and Chad gets sideways. When he corrects it, he goes up and nails Rick Mast.
What happened up in turn number 2, and it was not too far ahead of Jeff Gordon, the leader.
Sure wasn't, and all that smoke there had to be a concern for Jeff.
Yes, it did. And Chad Little was the one making all that smoke.
From the Jimmy Dean Sausage onboard camera.
Ooh, had a little bit of help there, didn't he?
Hope